So now we have the pleasure of speaking with members of the Full Circle Living and Dying Collective here in Nevada County, California. An amazing group that came together a few years ago. You've already met one of its members, Nandi Zabo, and now you get to meet the rest of the group. Rich Fisher, Amber Hill, and Akhila Murphy. I am so pleased that you're able to join me today for this conversation. So just quickly, could you give us a little bit of background on how Full Circle came into being?
Came into being, well...
and you are Akhila.
I'm Akhila. Yeah, thank you for clarifying. Well, we came into being because three of us actually met at a death midwife training class in Sebastopol. We didn't know each other, but we all happened to be in this local area, and came together at this death midwife training. And after that first training, the three of us were just so moved with the possibilities of educating our community in ways, options for caring for their loved ones during dying times, after death, and assisting and educating people in our community about having home funerals, that we just decided to join together and just begin. And so we've held some talks in the community, death cafes, we've shown films, and we're just out there to help our community understand different ways of caring for your loved ones during dying times and after death.
Mm-hmm. And Amber, you have been involved with this from the very get-go. So what year did it Full Circle start?
The summer of 2012. Yeah, just immediately after we all met each other at this training.
Mm-hmm. And you, as a group, how did you find out about the Death Cafe, which actually was started in, I think, '09?
Something like that, yeah.
Somewhere in there,
yeah.
By a gentleman in England.
Mm-hmm. John Underwood.
Yes. So how was it that you found out about that and have adopted that model for some of the work you're doing?
Well, I really don't remember how I found out about it, but I remember being immediately intrigued and thinking that it was a great idea and wanting to bring it to the community and make it part of Full Circle Living and Dying's work. So I think the first event we ever did was a death cafe, and it was really successful, and we've done 2 since then and plan to make it a regular thing.
Well, the need in our community and all across the country for these conversations is vital. So, you know, and the more people who attend your events can then take that home to their own personal lives and spaces and start these conversations in a less formal way.
Exactly, and people often say that at the end of a death cafe event. Now I can go home and have this conversation with my loved ones.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I know Full Circle is very, very helpful with is having the death at home if possible, having some ceremony or ritual, if you will, that the family itself and the person who's dying perhaps gets involved in. Rich, I know that this is a piece that you particularly are holding in several ways. Mm-hmm. Could you just tell us a little bit about some of the things that you bring to people's lives for that?
Sure. I've been an artist and healer for a few decades, and have always been involved in alternative health care, which seems to very much go hand in hand in alternative death care. And amongst the things that, I've been doing pieces for people who have passed or are passing, involving on a glass floor, and people give me cremation remains, and I'm able to work that into the glass and make them an item for whether it's a piece of jewelry or an altar, and they can have something personal to hold on to. It doesn't involve a lot of the remains, so the original plans for an urn or spreading them can still be done. But I've found that it's very much, it goes hand in hand with that comfort of having the person close. As we've found, when somebody is spending 3 days at home after their death. Our clients always seem to be just that much more accepting of the whole process of the fact that this person's body is there, and they've spent a few days grieving and spending time, and to give them something of a tangible nature also for after the death is just one more tool to have to hold on to, whether it's an altarpiece or something to wear.
Well, that's just a brilliant way of helping individuals get closure, and then have something that, I mean, you know, putting the urn of ashes on your coffee table is not something most people do, but perhaps putting a beautiful piece of blown glass on their coffee table to honor their loved one is very appropriate. One of the things I know you mentioned to me as we were chatting about this ahead of time are the cardboard coffins. So Akhila, can you speak to that?
Sure. So what we learned at our training class is that an alternative to full caskets made of metal or wood, there's an eco-friendly casket made out of cardboard. There's other caskets made out of different materials that are more biodegradable, but the cardboard casket is very inexpensive. And the beauty of that casket is you can decorate it on your own. The family members can gather and paint on that, write poems, add photographs, whatever you like to express yourself to your loved one. This can be done before dying times.
The person dying can do some decorating too.
Right.
Which is, I think, an important part of their ritual process.
And for the family to share that experience, that they're all on the same page, that this really is happening, and we are addressing it directly.
I know one of the questions that has come up pretty frequently is, you're going to let the body sit there at home for 3 days? What? And there are just some very mundane, practical aspects to that. So which one of you would like to give us a quick thumbnail sketch of what that looks like?
Well, so what we learned through our training class and what we've experienced is that you can have your family members stay at home. The practice is to have family members come in and cleanse the body, ritual washing of the body, anointing with oils, dressing the body. All of these are rituals as well that bring about healing to ourselves, but also just express our love for our loved one.
Anything that's particularly symbolic for the person who passed.
Right. And then, so you can just lie the body in a bed or other
Massage
table, anywhere we can just make a nice space and create sort of a sacred space, maybe an altar surrounding it, and then just simply keeping dry ice underneath the body in various key places acts as a preservative, and the body can stay at home for 1 to 3 days without any fear of deterioration. There's little signs that happen. And those are normal, and actually it really helps the grieving process when you can see little changes in the body. But basically you can keep them there at home for 1 to 3 days.
Excellent. Yeah, that's
beautiful
excellent.
experience for the families.
Culturally, that's the way it's been done for most countries all over the world for
Tens of thousands of years.
It's only been the last 150 years that it was taken away from the home family environment.
Gosh, can we match that up with industrial civilization? Okay. Well, we are going to wrap this up, so I would just invite each of you to bring forward, well, first of all, I would like for you, Rich, to just pick up and show us some examples of the glass work that you do.
What that can be done is, I have half a dozen different things that I do as a standard, but I've done a lot of custom things, made pieces into whatever meant something to them. So I've done things like window and Christmas ornaments, heart-shaped necklaces, done angels and little vases for altar pieces.
Okay, let's bring some of these up where we can actually just maybe hold them here and see if we can't hold that one right on in there, and we'll just hold it steady for a moment.
The remains in the cobalt glass has this real celestial stars in the sky kind of look to it, and it's also been very soothing for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very nice. Very nice. I know several people who have had a tiny bit of their loved one's remains put into a little silver,
Mm-hmm.
you know, little chest, little tiny little container, and but these are very, very beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So what else? Anything?
I'm
Amber?
really excited to see conversations about death kind of exploding in the popular culture
Mm-hmm.
right now. It's on NPR, it seems like, on a weekly basis. There's all sorts of websites and podcasts and books, and doing things like this and death cafes is just a way to take that larger conversation and have it at the grassroots community level. And so I'm just so happy to see across the spectrum this conversation being had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the standards are changing, and we happen to live in a community that is extra accepting of such things. But as we talk to more and more people, everybody's interested. And all generations are interested, whether it's young people, middle age, or older people. Everybody knows this is important, important subject to finally be paying attention to.
Yeah, that's something that came out of our second Death Cafe, which was a smaller group, is everyone was kind of confessing that they've always been kind of interested in death. And then everyone else was like, well, me too. And we realized, oh, everyone is. We've just been taught that it's taboo. And so we've kept ourselves quiet.
Well, we're not being quiet anymore. Well, thank all three of you so much for being here today and having this conversation with me and being part of the larger conversation. And that larger conversation is going to be occurring next. This is a conversation with both the professionals with whom we've had some interviews and chats, who are setting aside that professional piece and simply coming to this conversation as a person who's interested in talking about death. We're going to have several other individuals joining that group, and at that point, you won't see me, but you will see a group of people simply sitting together and talking about death organically. The conversation will evolve how it evolves. The only thing that we're doing that will honor the Death Cafe model that has started so much of the work that is now being done by many other organizations is that we are going to have tea or coffee and cake. So please join us for Death at the Fuki, the conversation.